Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and we're producing the show for yourmarkontheworld.com, and we're with Ty Walrod today. He's the CEO and founder of Bright Funds. Ty, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks, Devin. It's great to be here. Really appreciate you having me back on.
Well, we're excited to talk to you about this and the great work that you're doing. Can you give us a quick overview of Bright Funds, what it is and how people can use it?
Absolutely. Bright Funds is a digital platform for charitable giving. We empower people to give to the causes they care about and really make a difference. And the way that we really get our leverage is by partnering with the world's most innovative companies to empower their employees to give back to the causes they care about.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Ty, we're excited to partner with you on the creation of the Your Mark on the World Fund. I had you on the show about 6 weeks ago. I've actually been talking to your team for about, I think it's been a year or so that we've been talking about creating a Your Mark on the World Fund on Bright Funds. And we finally gotten around to doing that. And I really want to thank you for helping to prod me along and bring me to this point. So now all of our viewers, all of our community members can participate with us in a strategic plan to help solve big world problems. And I'm excited about that. So
that's really cool, Devin. I mean, that's why I'm excited about this conversation today. It's, Bright Funds was built to help everyday people truly make an impact in the world, and part of that is helping them to give strategically. So with launching the Your Mark on the World Fund, we're really excited to share that with people and help get the word out about what you're up to. So why don't you tell us just a little bit about the Your Mark on the World Fund and what you hope to accomplish with it?
Well, the Your Mark on the World Fund is specifically designed to address big world problems that I think we can solve over the next 30 years. And this comes out of my research for a book I'm working on, and I've been working on it for 2 years. I'm embarrassed to say, but I have been working on it, continue to work on it. But the thesis of the book is that some of the problems in this world that we think of as intractable or impossible, like extreme poverty, we tend to think of these things as inherent parts of the human condition. And I've come to the conclusion, after talking to really smart people, that some of these problems can actually be solved, and can be solved in our lifetime. We don't need to wait an inordinate amount of time to be able to actually really address and create solutions to these problems. And so I'm hopeful that through the work of the organizations that we support, that we really can make a difference. So we've selected, with your help, 16 nonprofits that are working to solve some of these big problems, like climate change, global warming, extreme poverty, and the need for better maternal and child health care, because there are far too many children and mothers dying in and around childbirth. The statistics are just shocking. So we're really excited about the opportunity that you've given us to create a fund at Bright Funds.
Thank you, Devin.
So Ty, maybe you could tell us how people will actually be able to go on to Bright Funds and actually make a contribution to the Your Mark on the World Fund, because it's a new process for many to think about how they might give to 16 nonprofits at once. Maybe it's an intimidating process.
Well, we know that it can seem intimidating, but the sort of one of the greatest things about Bright Funds is it makes it really easy for people to give to the causes they care about with sort of one click. So what people can do is actually go right to brightfunds.org, We have thousands of individual donors. Of course, we partner with companies. All you have to do is go to brightfunds.org, sign in. It's one click to create an account. And then all you have to do is search for your mark on the world when you're exploring causes. In addition, if you're just searching on Google, you can actually just search for Bright Funds Your Mark on the World Fund, and it's usually the first result. So we try to really make it easy for people to find the Your Mark on the World Fund, and then they can actually explore what's in there, learn more about your strategy for solving big world problems, and take action right away. So from search to done, it's just a few seconds.
Well, it really is slick, and I'm excited about that. I mean, it just really is an easy way for people to participate. Of course, I've done it now, and it is just as easy as you describe. It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you know, if people search for the Your Mark on the World Fund, you know, one of the things they're going to want to do is think about, you know, do I want to set up a recurring contribution, a one-time contribution? Obviously, we've made that very easy. So whatever makes it easiest for the person, you just make your choice. You can give with PayPal, you can give with a credit card. The most important thing, though, is that the nonprofits that you've picked have been very thoughtfully selected. And I'd be curious, why did you pick the individual nonprofits, and are there examples that, you know, I recognize a couple of the organizations people do frequently fund a number of the organizations that you've added. So I'd love to learn just a bit more about some of those organizations.
Well, I'll tell you about three that are really exciting to me. So first, let me tell you about Nuru International. Jake Harriman is the founder of Nuru, and he was a Marine who served in Iraq. And when he was there, he observed tragically that some of the people that he was shooting at, and sometimes successfully, were desperately poor. And he began to appreciate that they had been recruited into the jihad, sometimes with as little as a bag of grain and an AK-47. And he realized that there was a whole other way he could be fighting terrorism, and that was to fight poverty. Because if you are not poor, you're not necessarily immune from being sucked into a terrorist movement, but you sure have a lot of immunity built up. You're much more resistant. And so he went to Stanford, studied, and created Nuru International. And they work on the ground with communities in the poorest places on earth. And the idea is they help communities help themselves, building a commercial enterprise at the village or community level, allowing them to help the whole community evolve itself and grow itself out of poverty with coaching and support over years from Nuru International. Very exciting program. So that's a great example of someone who's got a great model for ending global poverty. Now, another example is the Nature Conservancy. And the Nature Conservancy, I'm really excited about this. The Nature Conservancy is an organization focused on preserving nature and the climate, and they're working actively to alleviate and end global warming. But they're doing this in some ways that I really particularly like. They're working very cooperatively with business and trying to help them find self-interested reasons to protect the environment. And so their partnerships are really impressive. The CEO of the Nature Conservancy is a fellow named Mark Tursick, who spent most of his career at Goldman Sachs. So it's exciting to see this broad business-based approach to solving climate problems and environmental problems. And then another one is UNICEF. And again, one of the things that we're seeing in the world is that there's just terrible maternal health care in the world for a variety of reasons. And so we're seeing women dying and babies dying in just tragic, tragic ways. I was reading just the other day that in one country in the world that infant mortality is 28%. Can you imagine 28%? So many babies die that in this place they don't even celebrate the birth of a child until the child has survived 30 days because so many babies die.
Tragic.
So UNICEF is one of the most significant organizations in the world working to solve that problem. And so I've gone through, and all 16 of the nonprofits on my list are organizations that are doing stuff like that to try and solve these big world problems. So now, Ty, do you have a connection with or experience with any of these nonprofits that you want to share?
Well, I mean, you mentioned the Nature Conservancy, and another example of an organization that you've chosen in your Mark on the World Fund is, for example, water.org. Both, I mean, all 16 are just incredible organizations. And we've worked closely with, for example, Nature Conservancy and water.org, as both of those have been a part of other Bright funds for some time now. I think what really resonates with people with water.org, for example, is, just like the Your Mark on the World Fund, the Bright Funds Water Fund really attempts to make a strategic approach to solving a big world challenge. So working on clean water, sanitation, hygiene, and infrastructure. So for that example with water.org, which is a great organization, they really do help bring a strategic approach to solving the world's water challenges. So that's one example of one of the organizations we've worked with. And then obviously the Nature Conservancy, incredible organization, a great alignment with enterprises in America, but they do a great job of resonating with individuals who really want to understand the cause and have a strategic long-term approach to both land challenges and water challenges. So great organizations. Devin, one of the things that you really made me think of was the fact that, we named Bright funds Bright for a reason. People are tackling some of the world's greatest challenges, and it's not always easy to talk about infant mortality, and it's not easy to talk about people not having access to water. And the reality is, we have an outlook to a brighter future, and we think through more effective and strategic giving, like using the Your Mark on the World Fund, which is a great example. We can bring awareness to these tough challenges, but do it in a way that really looks to what the world looks to the future world that is much brighter. I think that's a takeaway that I had.
Absolutely. I think we share that common view of the world that the future can be so much brighter than our present. And it's exciting to think about choosing to live in a world that doesn't have so many of these problems. Now, Ty, people who are interested in donating can either give one time or they can set up a monthly recurring donation. What's the smallest monthly donation that you allow?
People can make donations under $10. So from our perspective, it's not really about the amount that you're giving. It's actually just the fact that you've thought about how you want to make a difference. And so people can make a small contribution, and it can be a one-time or it can be a recurring contribution.
And of course, if someone comes to the Your Mark on the World Fund and they see the roster of 16, if for some reason they don't want to give to the Your Mark on the World Fund, they could just click on one of the nonprofits on the list and donate directly to that one nonprofit through Bright Funds, right?
That's absolutely right, Devin. What we do find is once people get into a fund, they start to explore and understand what the organizations are and the work that they're doing. And often people say, I really align with the Nature Conservancy, for example. And so if people want to make a direct contribution, they can do so right there within the fund.
Well, Ty, I want to just review a couple of things with you quickly. We talked about this a few weeks ago, but I'm sure some of the people who are watching weren't with us. But you are a role model to many. Who do you look up to? Who inspires you?
Well, I think when you asked me last time, I mentioned my grandmother because she lived through the dirty 30s and is 96 years old. And, you know, I I have tremendous respect for what she lived through to get to where she is. So she's a great example. They're incredible entrepreneurs who have also really forced the hand of innovation. And I'll use Steve Jobs as an example. He's controversial for a lot of people, and for good reason. But one thing that he really cared about was the product. And so, while I may not agree with all of his tactics, he's a role model for really thinking about who is that person who's going to use your product and making a difference. So he's also a role model.
That's great. Now, you could be doing anything. Why do you care about making a difference in the world?
I really care about this, Devin, because I had the opportunity prior to Bright Funds to work on a project that made a positive impact in thousands of people's lives. And it was right place, right time, exceptionally great team. And, we really made a difference in what we were working on. And it was a social cause. And that sort of caught my attention. And, one of my goals that I've written down is live a life worth writing and being written about. And I want to make a difference. I want to make my mark on the world, so to speak. And that's why I decided, almost 4 years ago now, that I want all of my work for the rest of my life to truly be meaningful.
Oh, that's great. What an inspiring objective. And now everyone who is listening wants to do more good in the world. Can you give us one more tip for how, something that you do every day or regularly, consistently, that we can emulate and copy, so that we can have more impact?
I think two things really make a difference, and they're so basic, but I really try to practice them every day. One is a sense of humility, and another is a sense of gratitude. Whether it's extending to my team at Bright Funds or to people throughout my day, you never know what kind of day someone is having. So extend a sense of gratitude to someone, and approach people and challenges with a sense of humility. And I've learned that for me, that's an opportunity to learn a lot more about something I don't know about. So those two things, maybe it's my Kansas roots, I don't know, but those two things have really helped me to learn more about my world and to make a difference.
Oh, fantastic. Ty, let's just recap very quickly. How do people find Bright Funds? And once they're at Bright Funds, how can they find the Your Mark on the World Fund to contribute?
Absolutely. So obviously you can search for Bright Funds on your favorite search engine, Google, for example. You can also go to brightfunds.org, which is our website. And once you're on brightfunds.org, it's simple. You just click Explore Causes, and you'll either see the Your Mark on the World Fund featured, or just search for Your Mark on the World. It's the first result. And people can find the 16 organizations. They can understand a little bit more about your strategy, and in one click give to all 16 organizations or the organizations of their choice. So we're really excited to get this out there, Devin, and I'm excited to see what we can do.
Ty, thank you very much. We appreciate all the support you're giving us with the launch of the Your Mark on the World Fund at Bright Funds, and really appreciate all the great work you're doing, and wish you every success in your continued work.
Thank you so much, Devin. It's great to be here, and really appreciate it again, and good luck. Looking forward to working with you.
All righty. Let's do some good.
All right.